YouTube. It's Brian Phillips. We're gonna open this box right now. Oh yeah. All new from E-flite. Super excited to be bringing you this. Obviously, if you're watching this Unbox Build radio setup, you know what it's about. And we're super thrilled to be bringing it to you early. Oh, gotta uncut a little bit more. So guys, there's all sorts of new things coming out this year from E-flite. I can't talk to you about the things that are right around the corner, but I can tell you about this one, and it's gonna be awesome, and I cannot wait. It's gonna be beautiful. I think I've got the back side of the box. I'm gonna go this way. Okay. You ready? Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, 900 millimeters SE5a. Look at that beautiful creation. And yes, we'll be bringing it to you here on Brian Phillips RC. We hope that this video will help answer questions you might have about this plane. First off, let's talk about what it comes with. This is a bind and fly creation, so you just need to have a transmitter and a battery of your own. It's got AS3X and safe, so that should be AS3X plus. Nice. And we're gonna unbox it right now. So it's got a white flight envelope, scale details, easier to fly. Skill level 2. Look at that machine gun, wooden prop, sweet. Pilot figurine with a scarf. We always love the scarves. Okay, so let's get into this. It's 900 millimeters wingspan, and it's got smart technology, which is super nice. So we get good telemetry back, should have battery pack telemetry and all that good jazz. I don't even know what type of battery it uses yet. We'll find that out here in a minute. So guys, when we get these things as early releases, sometimes we have information ahead of time and other times we don't. This would be one of the times we don't. Shows up in an unmarked package and then we get to figure it out, which is super exciting because I love me a new RC airplane and I know you guys will too. Oh, here's the back of the box art, if you're curious. Oh, look here. There's your rest of your specs there if you're curious. So it looks like we're actually about 1,084 grams, so obviously not sub 250. So if you're worried about remote ID stuff, then that will at least get you in the ballpark there. All right, so as far as the unbox portion goes, look inside of here. Seems to be well packed, a lot of pieces, which is usually not one of our favorite things. Okay, so we'll just start undoing this one piece at a time. It's not sure the best way to do this. Oh no. Oh, they folded the manual. Ugh.
Gracious. Maybe that's a sample thing.
I hope it's a sample thing. Looked like there's a pocket in there for it. Okay. Landing gear. Okay, so that's not wood, it's plastic. Okay, so we'll see how that goes. The tires look like they're rock hard, but they're actually not. Look at that. That's cool.
Oh, yeah, a little squishy.
These are pre-dirtied by the product sample team. So they were doing testing on this particular unit. And so they were kind enough to send this one out so we could have our videos done in time. Okay. Ensure the screws thread into plastic structure. Okay. So then there's that. Okay, so we'll see how that goes. This one's gonna have a little bit more assembly than some other planes we've done in recent vintage. It looks like this is actually the fuselage. So we'll pull this out. Oh man, that's so cool. Oh yes. Oh yeah, the prop is so sweet looking. There's mud splattered on it though. This thing looks so dang cool. I gotta get better lighting, I'm sorry. This is gorgeous. And that is a 10.5 prop, but look at the clearances. Wow, that is really pretty. It looks like a model, guys. Like a scale model. Yeah. And then of course we've got this little bit of frayage going on. Pilot, looks scale. Look at that, got the little windscreen here. Got this, which must be like the scope. And then this would be one of the guns, the machine guns. Radiator cap, super cool. Nice details. The decals are opaque enough that they don't show through the color. And then push rods have this style end. Plastic right here to support the rudder and tail wheel. A little bit of plastic here. Looks like, is that plastic? Yeah, that's foam.
It's really smooth.
It is really smooth. Like I can't tell where the lid is. I want to be kind of careful how I do this. Does this go forward? This is pretty enough. I don't want to accidentally break it. Oh, it goes forward. It goes forward and then out. Really strong magnets, okay? So it looks like, oh, there's your motor. Show the people the motor. Okay, and it looks like probably 2200. Whoa, there's even a gun inside of there. Look. See the gun?
Yeah.
That must store, oh, AR-631 plus. Okay, it looks like digital servos. The A345SL, whatever that means. Really long control arm on there. And then I'm guessing what happens is that this is stored here, and that's going to go on top of the wing. Because there is a gun on top. Yeah, there is a gun on top. Because then the pilot can stand up and also shoot from above, like when the first gun runs out of ammo, presumably.
You have to stand up to use that thing?
I don't know. Well, he's got this one he can sit down and use. Oh, look, instrument cluster too.
Oh, cool.
And by the way, I got to say, that gun is sweet looking.
Wow.
They probably won't even be able to sell this in Illinois. Okay, just kidding, guys. Kinda. California. Sorry.
Yeah.
I'm gonna just put that down.
Okay.
All right, so continuing along the way. Normally we don't start with the fuselage, but I couldn't tell what piece it was. All right, so we got the foam to protect the foam from the foam. Nice opaque finish. Looks like a pinch hinge, but there's like reliefs cut all the way through there, which is kind of weird. And I don't know if that's just because the servos are weak, but I love the paint finish. It's super dark. And we've got a little bit of flexibility here, but it looks like this is a rigid from a small piece of carbon fiber. Look how thin that is.
It's really thin.
And it looks like it's got all the details of a fabric wrapped plane, so that's pretty sweet. And we'll just continue with our unbox here with the tail feathers. Okay, so it looks like there is a wheel that is a new style. We've never seen that before. And that is part of the rudder assembly, which appears to be plastic down here that's wrapped on top of the foam. But this is like all reinforced here, which is pretty sweet. And then as you can see, perfect match on the plastic. See how the plastic is offset? Isn't that weird?
Oh, yeah. I do see that.
And then the foam picks up the details. I mean, it's like a literal perfect match. That is very cool. And then a vertical carbon fiber spar here, but it's opaque carbon fiber spar here because you can feel that there's a relief there. So lots of engineering that goes into this pinch hinge, though, it feels like. I don't know if there's reinforcement under that paint. There could be. E-flite historically is one of the better companies for giving us strong, solid wings. Beautiful plastic for the gun, plastic, and you can tell, look at this, that's so cool. You see that angle cut? So it's cut so it relieves down. So it's a pinch hinge still, but it's pinched up here and it's actually reinforced with tape here and here. Okay, so it looks like at one point in the manufacturing process, they have this attached and then that keeps this in place, okay? That's a little bit strange. A little bit of dihedral on this wing, and a little bit of flex, but remember, whenever we have a biplane, ooh, we've got a little bit of pitting in the foam. That's very unusual. Nope, that's mud.
Dirt.
It's mud. Mud and dirt. That is a really striking color scheme. It's gonna look really cool. I'm excited to see it in the air. All right, cool. And as you guys know, as we get further and deeper into this RC addiction, there's so many new and exciting planes that we review that are different. And I love the fact that we're getting something like this in a almost ready to fly sort of feel, but with a bind and fly finish level, which is really nice. Okay, so the bottom wing. So this one has the servos in it. So beautiful. And you can see the angle that that's gonna sit. The angle of incidence is gonna be so strange. I'm super excited to see it. We've got a couple of servo cables here. They are connected together. So you're not gonna be setting up flaparounds on this plane. Now, that's not to say you couldn't do it if you really wanted to, but it's kind of interesting. What is that? Looks like a cover, like an accessible cover, but it's not. It's actually just the way that the assembly is built. And then look at that pinpoint there. This is cool.
That's really
I'm
neat.
super excited to see this thing fly. And I love the edge of the wing. That's so cool. Look at this. It wraps all the way around and the whole end of the wing is the aileron. But it looks so true to scale. Really excited to see this thing fly. I can't tell what type of servos they are. Oh yeah, I can. It's an A345 SL on these as well. So those are digital servos as well. So really high quality build here. Okay, so we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 technically pieces, 6 if you include that, 7, and then the bags. So I think that's all the pieces. Now, of course, you're gonna have to provide your own transmitter, and we're gonna get into the radio setup after the build. So if you're needing help with that, you can skip ahead to that, or you can just stay tuned and watch us finish the unbox portion, which is gonna consist of us trying to figure out exactly how to put this all back together. We're gonna pause, clean up, and come right back. All right, so 2200 4S smart packs. I'm gonna use Gen 2. I've got 2 of them ready. I'm gonna get those charged while we're doing our build. If you guys don't already have a smart charger, my suggestion is to consider the S2200. We use them for all sorts of batteries, not just smart batteries. You can see we've got another one going right here. But if you guys are looking for something that's gonna be a little bit cheaper on the pocketbook here, a little easier on the pocketbook, you can get the SE5a, which is just a single channel, 55 watts, and it'll do all the things you need. Of course, when you get a new battery, all you have to do is set up your auto discharge timing. And for us, we use them for a long time, 2200 milliamp hour 4S. We usually set those to 240 hours, or in other words, 10 days, and then it'll be discharged. So, all right, we'll finish cleaning up. All right, so after a little bit of an investigation, we were reading through the manual, which we usually don't do, but we got to thinking, we got to put the bottom wing on first. But come with me, people. We have our battery charged. It was already like most of the way. It just needed topped off. We have our NX10, and we were just getting ready to put the wing on. We wanted to be prepared for our video, and we realized, okay, well, what do you see about this, camera crew?
You're gonna have to bind it before you put the wing on.
Why? Are you pointing the camera so they can see where it is?
Because you can't get to the bind button.
Like they can't see through the cables, can they? Move that, see? Yeah, there's a bind button there. But get this. Normally you can plug in an extension cord for this. And I just don't see it. Now maybe ours has it and it's just fallen in a weird spot, because this looks like a bind extension. Okay? That's plugged into the bind plug, okay? So is that an extension cord? If it is, where is it? Or does this whole thing come out? Nope, it's screwed in, guys. Oh, look, it goes right there.
Oh.
There's a bind plug right there. I have to assume that's it, because I can't see that wire coming out anywhere. So guys, when we go to build this, there's a bind plug here. And that would explain why they gave us that.
A bind plug.
Okay, show them the spread. This is the stuff that was all in that big bag. So that's for the wing struts and all the covers and stuff. So there's gonna be a little bit of minor assembly on this model. But now that we know that, we don't have to actually hopefully do this first, okay? Because the instructions do call out putting the wings on first. We'll go ahead and do it the way the instructions call it out, which is a little bit unusual for us. But when we run into a model where there's sort of a weird build, we're gonna bring that up to you guys so you know what to expect. So I'm gonna drop this lid back on. It doesn't always slide all the way back. I feel like there's probably an easier way to do this. I just haven't quite figured it out yet. I like to grab the plastic here because this is strong here. It's hard plastic, this is foam, and I'm afraid if I yank on this, it's gonna break eventually. This is all reinforced and really strong magnets, but I just don't wanna catch my leads and stuff. So when I bring it in, I'll slide it in all the way back and then let it drop down into place. Works really good though. Okay, so we'll flip the plane over. We're gonna start our build right now. So usually there's a little bit of flexibility the order you build a plane, but when it comes to biplanes, we found that is not usually the case, okay? And so that's why we were really careful about going through the instructions, because we have ports 2 opened, ports 5 and port 6 are all opened. And I don't know where to land the cable because port 2 would typically be ailerons. Is that what the instruction manual calls out?
Yes, connect the aileron servo to the number 2 servo.
All right, so the orange or the yellow, in this case, is going forward. Port 2 is here. I'm just matching it up. You're probably gonna have to turn the light on if you want people to be able to see that. Okay, so I'm pulling the wires out of the way. I'm gonna slide this in. It's awkward, okay? Just gonna slip it down in there, and it went in without any trouble, okay? Now keep in mind there's not retracts on this plane, so that's all for wires, but you gotta make sure that these wires don't get squished in and cause a problem, okay? I have no idea if you could see any of that. Okay, then I'm gonna walk this down. Now before I press it tight, I wanna flip it upside down, or right side up rather, and just look at these seams here and make sure that that wire didn't get dropped through the crack. It did not. So far so good. So I'm gonna hold this and press down. All right, so now what's the next step?
Now we need to add the landing gear.
So we don't actually screw this down?
No. Place the wing in the wing saddle,
Okay,
then
look.
install landing gear.
Landing gear fully assembled. Drop in the back, drop in the front. They go all the way down in, just like we've seen on other models. Okay, sweet.
Okay.
That kind of holds the wing in a little bit, but then there's gonna be these covers that go on. Okay, so these covers are gonna slip on. Do you remember how we said like a 5-piece count? It's quite a bit more than 5 if you include all the covers and stuff. Okay, so these are identical, it looks like. Nope, they are not. This says B, this says probably A. Oh, that says F, so back and front. So this is the front. It says F, right there, F.
Yes.
Drop this in, push it down, I guess. Yep, okay. Then this one is B, so it's got a B right there. So these tabs go down, and then that presses down. That's gonna hold not only your wing, but your landing gear in, okay? So our next move is to screw it in. So what type of screws do we have there, camera crew?
This has 2 by 25 millimeter screws, and it looks like everything is Phillips,
Excuse
a really
me.
small Phillips.
2 by 25 millimeters, you say? Okay. So 2 by 25, and how many do we need?
4.
Okay, so it's probably these ones, because those are obviously, there's only 2. Those are way too long. But 25 millimeters?
I think it's the longest ones. Because then these need the 8 millimeter screws.
Okay, so these are 25s. Yep. 25 millimeters would be 2.5 centimeters. Okay, so there's that. We'll take those out. This screwdriver is too small now, so I'll go up to a 4 millimeter tip, which would probably be about a 1.5, a pH 1.5. Yeah, it might have been okay before. Okay, so 4 millimeters. We'll see how this goes. Guys, we like a plane that goes together with less steps, so this is good. So far, so good, at least. Good penetration, good purchase. No ambiguity, but I gotta say, I gotta have a long screwdriver to reach this. Look what's about to happen to my screwdriver. Now, that's not to say that your screwdriver is gonna be as short as my screwdriver, but if it's longer, then you might have an easier time, okay? All right, now I'm gonna take one of the back screws, just doesn't matter which one, start it and see how it goes. And it feels like it's going very good. It's definitely penetrating into something that's strong. It's not like going into some weak mechanism. Okay, and just going, stop. That's just a different assembly technique. We haven't seen this before, or maybe we've seen it before and it's just a lesser popular setup, I should say. We've seen some that have covers similar to this. But it just seems like the evolution of the RC aircraft has really been headed off many times by E-flite. We really enjoy that. It's super cool to see how all these planes are coming out. They have these new manufacturing procedures that allow for a better end result. And I gotta say, the color matching is near perfection on this. Even though this isn't wood, it looks like wood. Even though this isn't a wood prop, it looks like wood, it's beautiful. The only fear I have is it's gonna be hard to replace it. And then that is moving around quite a bit, which I don't know if that's supposed to float like that. Kind of assume it should. I'm just gonna try to tighten the screws and see if that does anything. Doesn't really seem to, so we'll just leave it. Okay, so what's next, camera crew?
So the next step is we're gonna flip it over so that we can install all of these like wing joiner struts.
So we flipped it over, looks totally sweet already.
It does.
Very cool. So we'll just lay this down very carefully. I might actually adjust my plane stand just a hair. I'm not sure if I wanna have it fall. Okay, that's pretty good there. Okay. So what am I supposed to do first?
So these are supposed to be marked with a label.
No, it's like this. This is in, that's out, okay?
But down here, it
Look.
says there's an RF and an RR. I can't get it to focus on here. In the little tabby thing, there it goes. RF. So this is the right front.
Oh, right there, it says LF.
Yeah, it's really...
Left front,
there.
left rear. Okay.
Yes.
So left from the driver's, from the pilot's perspective.
So turn it around.
But it's got to go this way, okay? So then it snaps in.
Yes.
So this says left front, left rear. And so that just gets slid down in there like that. And then this gets slid down in there like that. Super easy. And in order to release it, you take a screwdriver or something, you can pop that out and take it apart. So if you want to transport the plane and you need to take it apart, first of all, a couple things to consider. This plane is not that big, okay? So that's nice. That's definitely working to your advantage here. It definitely has some size to it, but let's just say you use one of these longer screwdrivers, long flat screwdriver. You come in here, you should be able to easily press this and probably leave the top wing half assembly good, like that, okay? Make sense? I'm gonna snap it in though, because I wanna build the plane. All right, so if you guys are brand new to Brian Phillips RC, we always do this. We unbox, we build, we do the radio setup so that you don't have to figure everything out on your own. Sometimes we do things that an average person can figure out quite easy, and other times it's a little bit more challenging stuff. But most of the time, it's just kind of a helping hand for people that are getting back to the hobby. So if that's not you, you may not have an appreciation for the step-by-step process, but that's what we do on Brian Phillips RC, so forgive us.
So then we need those.
So if you're brand new to Brian Phillips RC and you want to have more content like this, check out brianphillipsrc.com. That is our website. You can go to bprc.me if you want to see one of thousands of other videos that are currently live. If you're curious about something, maybe this isn't your cup of tea. All right, continuing.
Those are going to go in and be installed with the 8mm screws.
Meaning they're going to go here. And they're all the same. 1, 2, are they all the same?
I believe they're all the same.
They're not the same.
Okay. Show me.
They're different. Here's how I know. Because I laid them in my hand. They're not the same. So these are labeled, and they're labeled right here. It says RF. So right, like the driver's perspective right, and F, meaning front. So this is the right front. And then the longer one, there's gonna be one that's the right rear. So RR, okay. So RR goes here, right front goes here, okay? Just like that, and they get screwed in. So we're gonna do that next. We'll do the left after we're done with this, and we need these screws, correct? Because there's a total of 5. We're gonna for sure use 4 of them on this step. I'll just dump them on this plastic, or excuse me, this paper here. And grab myself. These are Phillips screws, and they're pretty small, so I'm hoping this long tool shop tool will work. Yeah, it seems to be okay. So you see I've got it held on with the tip of my finger. If you can't do that, slide it into the apparatus, and then that will hold your screw as you get it into position, if you can. How the heck are you gonna get a screwdriver in there though? Okay, so I can't do it that way because that gun is in the way. Or the exhaust port or whatever the heck that is. Camera crew, sorry, time for your hand to be there. Would you mind? Okay, you need to lower it so that it's in position.
Okay.
Down, down, all the way down. How the heck am I gonna get the screw in there?
How are you gonna get that in there?
Okay, you need to put this in position. Okay, so watch guys. This has a very, very distinct and easy to feel position. That has to be all the way in. Stop it there, right there. Okay, good job. So now I have to go in here from underneath and do this weird trick, okay? So that is an awkward angle because look where my screwdriver is. I've got this huge screwdriver. I need a short, where's my short screwdriver when I need it? It's on the dining room table instead of being next to where I'm working, Brian. Okay, so I'm gonna grab my screwdriver. My screwdriver's gonna get in here. Hopefully if it's shorter, it'll be easier. Okay, and I'm gonna just tighten this screw. Camera crew is gonna let go. Let go. Please let go, thank you. Okay, this screwdriver is too big, so I'm gonna go to a 3mm from a 4mm, which would be down to probably getting close to Phillips 1 size, okay? This angle is awkward, and I'm afraid I'm gonna damage the finish with my middle fingernail as I turn the screws here, okay? So just be super careful. You gotta do this twice. The front one should be a lot easier because you're in front of the wing. This is why we like hex drive screws, manufacturers, because you can get in there and it locks into place better, okay? All right, so now we can go ahead and load this screw. I don't think I'm gonna need help on this one, camera crew, so don't worry. This one's quite a bit easier. This would have been a lot easier to do before we put the wing on. That back one would have been a lot easier. I'm kind of surprised they didn't suggest we do that first. See, that's why I don't read instructions. Oh, goodness gracious. Okay, I'm gonna start this a different way. I'm gonna run the screw all the way in, kind of like what I talked about on the first one. Then I'm gonna put the tip of the screw into the hole. And now I'm gonna try to turn the screws, okay? Okay. Now keep in mind, guys, this is bearing a little bit of weight of the aircraft. So you do wanna make sure that this is nice and sturdy. But also there's not like a ton to press hard against, and you're trying to use a Phillips screwdriver. So a Phillips screwdriver really depends on purchase to twist the screw. So it's a little bit awkward, but that does look sweet. Super excited about seeing this fly. We've got terrible wind conditions today. We've just had really rough weather this year. It seems like the times that we've had flyable weather this year, it's been incredibly windy or it's been cold. You just blocked all my light. Thank you. If you want to go there, you have to go all the way past so that I can see. Thanks. This dark model really makes it dark. It's hard to see. Okay, so you guys see what I'm saying? When I press on this, it wiggles. So trying to keep purchase of a Phillips tip in a screw like this can be a little challenging. So back here, it's easier to put pressure, but it's in just a really tight spot. And so you do, if you have too long of a screw, then, you know, it makes it tedious. All right, so this is number 4. And gosh, I can't help but think this says LR. That is the left side. Oh, geez. This might be kind of challenging here. Got a really kind of a minor magnetic connection there. So once this starts, it'll make it a lot easier because then I can let go of my left hand and then I can hold and secure the plane as I tighten this screw. So guys, here on Brian Phillips RC, we show the entire process so that you can get the help you might need. And sometimes the help you need is just help deciding against a particular plane because it's got a feature you don't like. We don't want to talk you out of planes that might be a good fit for you, but we do want to talk you out of planes that are a good fit for somebody else and not you yet. This plane, I'm guessing, will be a relatively easy to fly plane. It sure looks absolutely gorgeous. I am so excited to see this in the air. It looks like a model. It's
it really
super detailed. The foam is almost indistinguishable. There is little hints of the little foam here. You can see those little, the pattern, the little octagonal sort of patterns where all the balls go together, but with this thick, opaque, beautiful paint. And what's so cool is when it flips up on end, look at the color difference on the bottom from the top.
Yeah.
It's so striking. I can't wait to see it in the air. It's gonna look absolutely fantastic.
Yeah.
Okay, so now that we're done with that.
We've done all, so now we need to put the...
Oh, they're showing it through the wing. I see. They've got the outline of the wing, so you're actually supposed to put the wing on first, then put these on?
Yes.
Oh, these are stretchies.
And it says that they're all the same length.
They're all the same length. Okay, so let's try this. Let's just grab one and see. Can we even put them on now?
I mean, you could hook them to the bottom, but it has an order that you're supposed to put them in.
Oh, you know, it's probably gonna put enough pressure on it that it's gonna pull it out of place. So number 1 is here. Okay, hook. Okay, hook, and then where?
Up to that front one, yes.
Okay. My guess is it's gonna pull that out of square enough that we can't get it, but you know what? This is gonna go so quick, I'm just gonna throw caution to the wind and try it.
Okay.
Because I'd rather try it and be wrong. Okay, so then two.
Two is front top or front outside.
Oh, there's nowhere to hook. There's nowhere to hook.
Is the hook on the,
The hook must be on the wing,
on the wing.
Okay, so that explains it. So then we'll get the ones we can do now done. Okay?
Okay.
So we'll just hook that one up there. And since they're all the same length, I'm trying to put the hook points in from the front to the back. And I'm just hoping that doesn't pull these out just enough that it doesn't work. It looks like we'll be able to do the back ones too. Now, I'm sure that they're giving us instruction because they've tried it both ways, but I'm gonna go ahead and try it again for you right here on Brian Phillips RC. Sometimes we just like to do it our way because we can. And other times, you know, they didn't think of it or we got lucky. Okay, so this one here is a little harder because just imagine how much of a pain in the butt that's gonna be once we got the wing on there. It's gonna be nightmarish. It reminds me of the PT-17 we did for a competitive brand here years ago. I mean, that thing was, we spent like
terrible.
10 hours on the cables. We had to tension every single one of them. It was terrible. And it made for a beautiful plane, but it was just tedious amounts of work. I think we had a 10-hour video for that plane, which is ridiculous. And that included a lot of time lapse. Okay, it took me like 40 hours to put that thing together. It was ridiculous. Okay, all right, so now we can't do the other ones yet. And it doesn't matter yet because we won't be able to do it. I didn't miss anything, did I? Yeah, because this one's gonna hook down here and here. So it's gonna hook from here to here and then from here to here. Okay, that is so sweet looking. It looks literally like a model. I'm so happy with the way it looks. All right, so now the top wing goes on. Mm-hmm. All right, so the top wing has the same style clips on the inside and then the same style clips out here, just opposite, okay? So my guess is this is not gonna wanna line up because I did things out of order. So I'm probably gonna have to pull these back together just a wee bit, and that's fine. Okay, so I got those ones lined up. Then I've got the front one. I'm just gonna try to line these up. So I got those lined up. So I'm gonna just try to press that in, if it'll go. That's in. Then this front one's down. And then that one's in, and then the back one's gonna go in. Okay, so they're all clipped. Now, once those are clipped, I'm gonna go to the outside because the wing does have a little bit of wiggle to it. It already looks fantastic. Okay, so just lifting it up. You wanna go to the end so they can see. See this? Look, right here. See this? Watch. In. Now watch this. I'm gonna pull this toward me as I go and it's gonna snap. Boop. That is so sweet. I am really happy with how easy this is going. I thought it was gonna be pretty terrible. Okay, so we got a little bit of overspray or paint or something up here. So that's a bummer. Okay, just dropping that down, dropping that down. That might be a product sample issue right there. That's not gonna be true for yours. Okay. Don't want to fly it yet, but it looks like it's eager to get in the air. Okay, so now for the other side of the hook points. Mm-hmm. Go ahead and take these all off of the boards. And we'll probably hang on to that just in case we have to store them again. All right, camera crew.
So now you're going from the front lower set down at the base.
So look,
yep.
The lower set, you have to kind of sling this underneath, hook it, pull it as you go a little bit.
Then.
And then up on the inside, right?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Mm-hmm. So as you can see, it's really not too bad. It does seem like aren't those supposed to be touching or closer?
I guess not.
Okay, now look, I'm gonna go on top of the wing, lay that in there, come up under from the inside. Camera crew's gonna have to really work to get you guys a shot of this because I can only do so much. Okay, so that's that. Looks absolutely fantastic. The only concern I have is I feel like Gosh, they're usually a little closer to each other, but maybe that's just because I don't actually know how they're supposed to be. Not on this plane. This reminds me of the plane that Mike Brown built and brought out. But his had Snoopy in it.
Same, the World War II or World War I era plane.
Yeah. So this hook was giving me a little bit more problems than the other hooks. It felt like maybe it's a little bent, like a little bit stretched out. Okay, so we'll try it down here then. I have no idea if you guys can see. I hope you can, because it's just a lot of stuff in the way. Yeah, having a harder time. Forceps might be helpful for this step. Yeah, that one just didn't want to fit in there. Okay, and then one last from the bottom. We'll go ahead and hook. And then I want to double check my connection points on the center of the fuselage. Okay, so that's hooked. I'm going to run this up. Now, of course, guys, I'm kind of assuming that these are sort of more of a decorative thing. It's not like they're absolutely necessary to hold the plane together, but man, oh man, that looks so cool. Okay, all right, so now what's next?
Tail.
So I'm actually gonna, I don't know, I might just take it off the plane stand. That is so dang sweet. By the way, look how I'm holding this. The thing is strong, guys. Soft gear too. That is so awesome. Okay, so what goes first? The gun that we never installed. Snaps in, snaps in. Sweet. Well, no, he just reaches his arm up and goes.
Nice.
That is so crazy.
It's very handy.
That is really cool. Okay, so then we have a horizontal stabilizer and a vertical stabilizer. I'm assuming that this one will pass through that one.
Yes.
Okay, so we'll just jockey that around, drop that in, then it becomes like an assembly. I'm not even sure if we were supposed to do that though. Did they say to put the horizontal stab on first, hon?
I think so, but I haven't looked super closely at that far yet.
Okay, then I'll look super closely there first. We're also not done with the linkages for the ailerons. They don't show them really in great detail. So here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna just drop it down. There's 1, 2, 3 screws here. 1 screw, 2, and 3, okay? So it should just go straight down. Yeah, straight down. No glue or anything. So sweet. Okay, all right, so I'm just gonna let this sit on its nose now. Then we gotta go 1, 2, 3. So there's these 2 big ones here, and then there's this 1 little one left. I have to assume the 1 little one is going to be the one that goes on the rudder.
Yes.
So I'm holding this with my index finger while I get that ready to go. It wants to walk away from me pretty bad, so I'm gonna try to hold this down. I'm gonna get it to where it's tight, and then I'm gonna go back. Okay, so that's tight. Now I'm gonna go back a 1/4 turn or so. Too much resistance, go back a little further even still. There we go. Now that's free moving. Okay, so now we're down to the last 2 screws. These 2 screws are kind of bigger, kind of makes me nervous. Like those don't seem like they'd be right, but. Now also this little 3mm tip is probably too small, but we'll try it first. Okay, well, it feels fine actually. Okie dokie. Holding this vertical stabilizer. Very firm feeling vertical stabilizer, given that it's very thin. You would think it'd be just janky as all get out, but it's really kind of not. Okay, so we'll get that in there. Oh, that's so cool. So going up top to just look at my gap here. As I get everything torqued down, this is plastic on plastic between all that. We've got good clearances here, but still too much resistance there, guys. Too much resistance there. I'm gonna go ahead and back this screw off just a little bit. It feels like there's gonna be resistance. I don't understand why though. Huh. I mean, it's not like it's hard to move. It just sort of holds its position. I'm fearful that the servo is gonna lag because of that. I've had that happen in the past. Okay, so we're down to the only thing left in bags is the bind plug. So pretty exciting stuff, guys. That is so sweet. I love it.
That's really pretty.
It's so easy too. That was like a half an hour or something.
It was actually.
I love the size. It's so cool. And I gotta say, you know, like this is like F7F-esque, like detailed. That is the type of plane that you can have out as a display piece, guys. Absolutely beautiful. Okay, all right, continuing on. Oh, let's check how terrible it is to load the battery. Grabbing the plastic, pulling forward, lifting up. Yeah, that's gonna kind of suck, but what are you gonna do? It's a biplane. Biplanes are always a pain to load batteries in. Make sure that gets all the way back, by the way. But I just love the way the prop looks and everything. Ours comes pre-weathered, yours won't. Wow. Okay, so our next move is radio setup, but we do, you know what? We gotta hook up the ailerons. It's not like we have to worry if the ailerons are centered, because this is not gonna be a centering type of thing, okay? So we'll put away our screwdrivers. We should be done with screwdrivers. Camera crew is gonna look at the manual and see if there's anything specific for you.
Just says install the aileron interconnect push rods between the upper and lower ailerons.
Okay, so this is obviously gonna go up or down. I don't know which way it goes.
That goes up. The clevis part goes to the upper part, is what it looks like.
Okay, so I'm gonna tip this down so I can see both at once. The clevis goes up.
Yes.
Okay, so this little fuel tube slides down. The clevis opens like that, okay? And what I'm gonna do is first I'm gonna slide this through. Come on, there it goes. Then I'm gonna turn this upward, push out on the tab, let it free inside there and snap it closed. Then I'm gonna slide this little fuel tube up. Camera crew is gonna go high so she can actually show you. Okay, so that's now closed. So what I wanna do is I wanna see if this and this are similar. This one is up too high, so I'm guessing I have the wrong one on the wrong side. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put this one on and that's gonna answer our question, and then I'll decide if it's easier to swap them or if it's easier to adjust them, okay? So slide that in, let it slide up. And by the way, it always takes longer to show somebody how to do this than it does to actually do it. So, you guys are wondering why it takes so long to build some of these planes on Brian Phillips RC. You got to remember we're trying to teach people, not just physically do it ourselves. That's pretty even, but it looks like that top one is up just a hair. Okay, so I'm going to go slide this up, and that is just slightly up, and that is very slightly up as well. Huh, that's kind of weird. Wonder if it's supposed to be. Does it say anything about that in the manual?
It doesn't.
Okay, then what I'm gonna do is I'll show you how to adjust that. So slide this thing down right here, pop this off. If you need to adjust it, now I just need to pull this down. How many times? I don't know. There's one, there's two, probably two. Okay, hard on the servos to do that, so try to avoid it if you can. Then just slide it back up and then retest. Okay, so really close. See, now we've got this smooth here and smooth there. It looks like about 2 turns. Okay, same thing over here. We'll slide this down. Take our fingernail. If you don't have a good fingernail for this, just grab yourself a flat screwdriver. Once you've pulled down your fuel hose, come in here, give it a little half turn. Sometimes you got to get up by the surface and pop it off like that, and then it'll just come right out. And I want to shorten this linkage. I'm going to hold here or here, and then I'm going to turn 1, 2 halves. That seemed to work pretty good on the other side, so we'll just go with that. Okay, snap that through. Slide this most of the way up, not all the way, and then pull your aileron or move your aileron extension here. Oh yeah, that's pretty dang close right there. We could probably go another half a turn if we wanted to get that dead on. Why don't we just get it dead on? Because, guys, I'm telling you, the difference between a good flying plane and a bad flying plane is preparation. And so my suggestion is you just try your best to prepare the plane as much as possible for the best possible outcome. And if you wasted an extra couple minutes, then you'll get dividends periodically by avoiding complete loss crashes. Okay. So check this. I want to get that square so that it's really perfect here. Oh yeah, that's perfect now. Can they see? Are they lined up
Yes.
good? Okay. All right, so there you have it. So the plane is technically, other than the elevator and rudder, we got to get those landed too. So where do we land the holes for those? Does it say?
Probably turn to the next page. I haven't gotten that far.
Okay, so there's center of gravity, looking for all the surfaces to be flat. Okay, so it looks like on the elevator, they want us to be on the second to outside and on the rudder on the outside. Okay, so on the elevator, second to outside, right? Yep, okay. So second to outside, we'll slide this fuel tube back. And then we'll grab this, pull the elevator back to it, snap it shut, slide this out. We don't know if that's centered, doesn't really matter yet. My guess is because we have a product sample, it's probably already been adjusted. We showed you the exact process to do this. Just when you get that centered, this is gonna look perfect like that, okay? If it's not perfect or it's supposed to be called out to an imperfect position, like for instance, on the F-14 Twin 40, you're supposed to set the televators down or something like that. There's something about it on that plane, if I remember right. There's been a few planes over the years, like the SU-27s we had to set the televons down a little bit. All right, so the rudder is gonna go all the way to the outside. So slide the fuel tube back just a little bit so it's easy. I don't want it all the way off of there because it might fall down and it's hard to get back. So I'm gonna just pop this open so it's not in the detent. I'm gonna go to the outside most rudder position, snap it shut, pull it roughly centered, and then slide the rudder or the rubber back. And there you have it. So now this plane is technically built right now. And I gotta say, that build was not as bad as I thought it was gonna be. I was kind of cringing as we opened it. But lately we've been finding some of these cringeworthy builds have not been as cringeworthy. But just to give you an idea of the scale, first of all, that is a nice looking plane. And just to give you an idea of scale, there's the transmitter while I put my plane stand down. It's a perfect size at 900 and how many millimeters, 80?
I mean, they call
900.
it 900.
So it's not even 1 meter. You know what's cool about this? I guarantee it's gonna fly like a bigger plane because it is, after all, a biplane, okay? So I like planes that you can slow down. I'm just hoping this flies exceptional slow because this is a cool plane that you could maybe fly inside. I wanna see if it'll fly inside. That'd be so cool. Because how sweet would that be if this was flying inside? That being said, radio setup should be a relatively easy thing. We are gonna go ahead and look through the radio setup. This should have the setup where we can turn it on, and on our initial binding, it's gonna prompt us to pull the data from the receiver. Now, I don't know that for a fact, but I'm guessing that's what's gonna happen. So we have our battery, we have the bind plug. Shouldn't hopefully need any screwdrivers yet. But guys, we really appreciate you being here with us on Brian Phillips RC. As we get ready to do the radio setup, just wanna remind you that we're here to serve the RC community. And the way we do that is be doing full length videos that show step-by-step process so that you don't have to guess what to do. There are times that we guess together, but hopefully we can keep those to a minimum. And sometimes on the new releases, we have a little bit of guesswork. This one, I don't think we're gonna have much. So the first thing we need to do is build a blank profile, and we'll see what happens if it pulls it across. Now you'll notice that I have the prop pointed at me. If you have any doubt, go ahead and loosen this with a crescent wrench, undo the nut, take this off if you're unsure of yourself. We are sure of ourselves because we've done this so many times. We understand what we're getting into. I'm gonna turn on my transmitter. As soon as it turns, I'm gonna hit cancel and back because whatever plane that comes up is irrelevant. Yours will probably start faster because I have so many models in model memory. Cancel and back, scroll all the way down, add new model, and we're gonna go to create. Okay, after we click create, it's an acro. We're gonna go ahead and pull this off by getting the prop out of the way and then sliding this forward and then pulling it up. Then we're gonna figure a way to actually load this. Okay. So these straps are kind of like the mid-grade straps. They do slip, which is nice. That's what we want. And once you open that up, you should be able to put your battery in. Now, before I do the shelf liner trick, I want to just double check that this doesn't have like a pocket it sits in. And it does not look like it's got a real good pocket, so we have to do shelf liner, don't we?
Probably should.
Okay, so if you guys don't know what shelf liner trick is, shelf liner trick is super easy. It's a way that we have learned works really nice to actually hold batteries from slipping around. Now we use two different styles of shelf liner. This is the shelf liner that we predominantly use. And it works, we have a solid one we've been using lately. This is what we have left over, and so I just want to work through it. There's only about like, what, 700 more planes on there?
Right, okay.
So we're gonna grab this and just show you an example of what we're trying to stop. We're gonna have no resistance. So if I put that on there and there's a little bit of strap pressure, it's not gonna slide for us, okay? So it's super cheap, super easy. A roll, just to give you an idea, like this might be like 10 bucks, and it's like 4, 5, 6 times as big when it's brand new. So my objective is to usually cut out a size that's similar to the size of the battery, or maybe just a little bit smaller, just to kind of keep things from being messy. Now, foam to foam is a good product. It works well. We have other products that we've used in the past and currently use, and they're also good. You can also use a double-sided tape. The idea is you don't technically need any glue to do this step because that battery tray is plastic and it's slick. That's all that really matters, okay? So my suggestion for spreading this would be to use a Q-tip and let it tack up for just a minute or two. So foam to foam can be ordered from Horizon when you're ordering this plane. So follow the links in the video description below. Buy the planes, transmitters, receivers, batteries, chargers, all that stuff you see us talking about here on Brian Phillips RC from the links, and that will help to support us financially as we put all this time into these videos for you, okay? So just get a little glob of it. We're gonna come down in here and spread that right in this spot here, okay? Now that stuff is gonna basically tack up like crazy, okay? And it's already a little bit tacky down there, so it looks like somebody else must have already done this. Okay, then I'm gonna come back here just behind, and I'm just gonna spread a little bit more. And I'm gonna spread just a tiny little bit up here. It doesn't need to be a lot. Just keep in mind a couple things about this product is that it doesn't tack up as quick as some of the competitive offerings. And also I've had trouble getting the lid to close, and that's because I've allowed my lid to get messy. If you want to avoid that, don't allow your lid to get messy. Because as you can see, I have a real hard time getting down to the threads where it actually closes, but it does close up still. Now that glue will tack up over the course of, you know, a couple of minutes, but for the sake of our process, all we have to do is just plop this in there and we'll be fine. The thing about the solid stuff that we've used in the past too is that it covers up all the glue, so you don't get any glue that comes through and gets on your batteries, which is kind of nice, okay? So remember, all we're trying to do is just kind of hold this like as the plane gets stored and moved around without a battery in it. But once you got a battery in there, it's actually gonna hold this in position for you. Just don't get glue on your straps. You wanna still be able to do that. It makes it a lot easier to load and unload your battery packs. Now also, I wanna point out the fact that there's a bind plug sitting somewhere, right here. And so this is eventually going to need to go in here. I think it's gonna be a lot easier to load this right now than it will be later. And you see how there's a flat spot here? It's kind of hard for me to even see. Or is there? Yeah, no, there's kind of not. I don't even know if I can have this plugged in first. I think I can. Yeah, I can. It's in there. And I've got just enough length to pull this out once we're done, okay? So now I can slide this battery back in here, and I'm just trying to think. We could also check the center of gravity, except I put away the manual. Pull a little bit of this out, hold that down flat on the pack, and then just go across the top. Push that down just a hair so it drops under the lip. And same thing for the back battery. I'm gonna pull this tight. I'm actually gonna try the other way. I'm gonna hold that tight. Yeah, it works a lot better this way. We've got that little L on it. Okay, drop that across the top of the battery. Nice fit there. Not bad, actually. For being a biplane. Biplanes are historically really hard to load batteries in. Almost every example of biplane that we've ever done has been hard to load a battery in. Okay, so we're at the main menu now. We can walk out of it. And we have nothing set up. And you're probably thinking to yourself, but Brian, this is the radio setup part. Yes, I understand that's true. What we're gonna do is we're gonna show you what it looks like if it were to prompt us, then we'll make adjustments. Throttle cut is on, not that that matters because it hasn't been assigned. So when I plug this in, I'm gonna do it in such a way that I assume it's gonna try to cut my arms off. If it were to go, it's likely to go forward, but it could go backwards, so I have it braced with my middle and index fingers, or excuse me, my middle and ring finger. I'm gonna plug this in. Bind plug is on, and I can see it flashing away down in the depths of the airplane. I don't know if you can see. You see the little flicker?
Yep.
There's the flicker. Okay, so now just take my word for it. I'm gonna hold the plane from a place where I know I'm not gonna get cut. Now I'm gonna click, I'm gonna scroll down to bind. I'm gonna hit yes, bind. Okay, so I heard it snap. Throttle cut is not set up, so I can't trust it. There was one set of dances, that's the S3X, and our surfaces are working. It's auto configuring. I still don't trust this plane. I won't trust it until I check it, okay? Now, I'm gonna pick this up because it's not started yet. I'm gonna turn it away from us just in case all hell breaks loose. It tries to take off and flies into the office there. And then I'm just gonna go ahead and do this. Oh, dang, that's so beautiful. Okay, so the receiver has this preloaded smart file. Do you wanna load it? Sure. It will overwrite the current model settings. Sure. And then there's a little poop smear that's sliding around. I don't know exactly what the heck that thing is. Oh, they have all these.
Throttle cut off. Throttle cut on.
Okay, so throttle cuts off. Oh, so cool. Okay, now with throttle cuts on. Now I can trust the throttle. Nice. Okay, so elevator up, elevator down, roll left, roll right, yaw left, yaw right. And part of the reason I did the preloaded thing is because this is such a simple plane. I want to show you that you can do that. Now, that's not to say that we're not going to go through a full proper radio setup. I just don't know yet. I'm going to drop this lead down into the cavity, okay? And once it's down into the cavity, I'm going to go ahead and drop this back on. And this plane is ready to fly, guys. That is a incredibly easy unbox build radio setup. And I gotta say, every angle that I keep turning this, I'm like just loving the way that it looks. It is absolutely fantastic looking. Now also I wanna point out something. Look at the ailerons. They're both high.
Oh, they are.
Look at them, both of them. And kind of by a large margin. So don't do that. You can skip that step of the assembly or disassembly. Yeah, these are both like up quite a bit. That's strange. I wonder why they're so far up. I wonder if that's to increase the speed. If the PD guys had some little difference in the adjustments, but like it's on the aileron channel. So there's obviously no flaps, no flight mode.
Elevator, low rates, elevator.
Okay, so they have everything switched, so we'll be changing that soon. And she's still talking about something. Okay, so I'm gonna pop this off, okay? I'm gonna slide down my little ring of rubber. I'm gonna pull this thing out all together, and then I'm gonna let this relax. Now I'm gonna put this back up here, and you're gonna look from the other side over my left shoulder. So this needs to be shortened. See? All right?
Okay.
Correct? So I'm gonna hold this, and I'm gonna shorten it. There's 1/2, there's 1 full turn. Once that's shortened, that should pull down the aileron. And as you can see, we don't have enough because it's still high, quite a bit high too. I'm gonna shorten it again. There's 1 more, there's 2 more, there's 3 more, there's 4 more. So a total of 6 turns, or half turns, I should say. Oh, getting closer. There's 1 more, there's another one. So that's 8 turns, good Lord. In the outside hole. And we're really close. Okay, so 9 turns. There's 9 turns. I'm gonna go to 10, just so it's an even number, okay? Oh yeah, 10 turns is a lot of turns, folks. Now, full disclosure, it's possible that somebody wanted that there to make the plane fly a little bit faster because you can cheat in a little bit of reflex into this aileron. I don't want to do that. I want to fly slow as I can make it. So that would be counterintuitive for a guy like me that likes slow flight. Okay, so I'm going to put my thumb in here and I'm going to pop this out, slide it off. I'm going to try the same thing right off the bat. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and there's 10. So let's see how we look there. So guys, if you're brand new to Brian Phillips RC, we're going to give you all sorts of tips and tricks. We went too far. And up to and including exactly what you're seeing here. There's 2 mechanical trim adjustments out. Slide it back through, and that looks perfect. How is 1 8 and 1's... That's weird. I'm going to go one more turn out. Okay. By the way, sometimes you got to guess and check because you'll get mixed up which direction does what. Don't feel bad. It happens to all of us. All right, cool. So now let's also look at this while it's holding still. Does that look pretty straight?
It does look pretty straight.
Now let's look at the rudder. Does the rudder look pretty straight?
No. The rudder is to the right.
Yeah. Show them from the top. Are you lined up so they can compare?
Yep.
I was looking this way. You guys probably can tell either way. Man, this focus is just being dumb. Okay, is it focused? Mm-hmm. All right, so what I got to do is slide this down. We're going to pop it off using our pinky nail, and we're going to support against our thumb. Pop that above, and then we're going to go out 1, 2, and I think that's probably good because this is a really small error. And it's so wiggly, I don't want to break it. Oh yeah, that got it.
Yeah,
that's pretty dang good. Okay, so folks, why do we not always care about that stuff? Because the truth is, sometimes when we get these early samples, they're product development samples. So they've already played with them a little bit. And sometimes that means that they already adjusted in some different things. But we want you to get the closest to stock appearance, man. That is awesome looking. Elevator up, elevator down. Roll left, roll right. Yaw left, yaw right. Okay, so now we just got to look at rates, Expo, and then Verifier AS3X and Safe are working, which means we need to go through forward programming to set that stuff up. Except that this is bind and fly, we might not need to. Okay, so let's see what the gear switch does. Nothing's hooked up to gear. So let's just hold this here. No change. No change. No change. No change. Okay. Throttle cuts on. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go to System Setup, disconnect RF. Aircraft type is normal. Flight mode type, they don't even have setup. Okay. So this thing is equipped with safe, but they don't have flight modes. Okay, interesting. I'm going to set it to switch D. Spoken flight modes. So they obviously have some sort of a template they started from. So I don't want it to say those things. So I'm going to highlight that. I'm going to go into this, cancel, cancel. Now I'm going to type in AS3X. My scrolly wheel's being kind of dumb today, sorry. So AS3X stands for Artificial Stabilization 3-Axis, and that is going to be what we call our stabilizer. And the stabilizer helps to resist environmental impact from actually impacting your flight performance. Okay. Then I'm going to change the word, which means I got to scroll way down here. So we'll come right back. Okay, so here's AS3X. Okay, so now this one's going to be off if I can do it. So I'll highlight that, highlight, cancel, cancel. Then I'm going to type the word OFF for off. Again, I don't even know if we can turn it off, but we'll just set this up just in case because it's so quick. And then we'll scroll to off, which is right here. So that was easy. Okay. Then this one is going to be flight mode 3 is going to be highlight that, cancel, cancel. This is going to be safe sensor assisted flight envelope. Sensor assisted flight envelope, okay, which is auto leveling. So I'm gonna scroll down, we're closer this time too.
Safe mode. AS3X mode off. Safe mode.
Okay, so during your normal flight mode, you'll see this displayed on the screen. Okay, pretty cool. Channel assign. Now we'll go in here and see what we got going on. So it looks like they already assigned these things to stuff. So I am going to unassign D from 6. Why would we have anything assigned to 6? I just need to think for a second. Why would we? We have 6 channels. Why would you use D on 6? There is no reason to have that attached. Also, I don't know if there's any reason there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go up to channel 7 because we're not using flaps. And I will, instead of setting it to D like I could, I'm going to scroll all the way to the left and go flight mode. Make that attachment. Now you can see we have 20 channels here. Since NX10 has 20 channels now with the latest update of firmware. It's actually 2 ago, 1 ago rather. And if you get an NX8, you get 20 channels. If you get an NX7E, it's 14 channels. And if you get an NX6, it's 14 channels, okay? So we'll walk out. We'll click, and now you can see it says AS3X off and safe, but we haven't actually set that stuff up. Now I'm gonna go down to, I don't know if it's digital switch setting or audio setup. Okay, so let's go to switch changes. Ugh. Yeah, no, don't want that. Inhibit that. High rates, low rates, yep. Inhibit that crap. 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 Throttle cut. Sorry, inhibit that crap. So that's all the setups we just did. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to Rates and Expo. I'm going to show you what they set up. So on ailerons, it's 100%, 100% rates, 10% Expo. Then they've got 5% Expo with 70%, and so on and so forth. We're just going to blow all that out. We're just going to go, okay, so switch F is fine. On this one, we're going to set it to 5, okay? Then we're going to have a doubling effect, and we're going to go to leave rates at 100. Then we're going to set this to 10. And then on this one, we'll go ahead and go with 20, and we'll just drop this down to 90. So now there's a reason that we do 20 and 90. I'd rather have full deflection if I want it. They're reducing the deflection quite a bit at 70, okay? So here's 100, here's half, so that's 5% Expo, very little Expo, then some Expo, then about double the Expo, and we drop the rates too, so it's a combo effect, right? Now what they've done differently is I am going to now attach this instead of to C, I'm gonna put it on switch F, and I'm gonna copy that same setup. So I've got basically a halving and doubling effect with the rates staying the same through the range until we get to this where it's, you know, you really want to deaden the sticks. Remember, you're deadening the sticks, but you can still give it 90%. On my configuration, you're going to have a similar feel though. So I feel like you give up less maximum control authority, but you still get the benefits of the Expo. Okay, remember, Expo and rates feel a lot alike, but they're not. Okay, so switch F, we'll do 5, then we'll do 10, then we'll do 20. Okay, so here's, oops, there's 20. And we'll bring the rates up to 90. Okay, all right, so we start here. If we want more touchy, we go here. If we want less touchy, we go here, okay? So that's the way it is for all 3 axes of control. You're not like wandering around looking for switches, okay? Now throttle cut is already on, as you can see. So when throttle cut's on, the throttle stick does not work. When throttle cut's off, the throttle... Okay, so that's the first time we've done that in 10 years. And I want to show you the damage. Just watch. We got so lucky. I didn't even damage my wife's stove.
Well,
that's what really matters, guys. So throttle cut on and off. Normally we would be setting this up without the plane set up. So to be honest, sometimes when you change your process, you run into issues. That was one of the issues we ran into because we changed our process, okay? And our process was simple, set it up, then bind. Well, we didn't do it that way. See if we can do this. I don't want to take it all apart. I could just take it all apart, but I'm not gonna, because I'm lazy. Okay. That was so lucky. That's totally gonna.
Is it gonna go?
Well, I'm just trying to figure out what the heck is going on with this linkage. What is going on with that? How's that even possible?
Just pulling on it because it's not.
Oh, because it's not snapped in all the way. Yeah, okay. So do you want to go to the other side where you can actually see? See this? I'm gonna snap this down in the back first. Am I going the wrong way? I think I'm going the right way. Yeah, so this is gonna drop down, okay? Then this one's gonna, unfortunately, have to drop down too. Then this one and this one will have to drop down, but simultaneously-ish. I cannot believe we just did that. That was hilariously stupid. But also, for good reason, we don't usually set up with a plane setup like that. I just can't help but feel like maybe it's on backward or something. Is it possible that it's just on backward?
No, because it's got to pop through those little holes.
Yeah, but is there like a top and bottom and I've somehow missed it? Because I feel like that's the only thing that would possibly cause that. I just can't believe it shot across the room.
Can you see the little mark there? Because the little mark goes on the bottom.
Yeah, it's on this side. So I've got them in the wrong way. So now I just need to press this with the tool to pop out. So take number 3. Okay, so I just popped it out with my fingernail. So then I gotta go this way. And what the camera crew pointed out was that it says right front and right rear. So that's supposed to be at the bottom. So I'll drop those in. And the alignment has to be perfect or it just doesn't work, okay? So I'll just snap these ones in first, starting at the front and then going to the back. Okay, both of them went in. Now I can lift because that top aileron allows for the flexibility to move it. Okay, so drop that in. Oh man, this is one of those times where having 3 hands would be helpful.
I can try. I can try and help.
Yeah, that's fine. Oh, there we go. There we go. Okay, so I noticed one other victim was that this edge got just a little crushed, which is annoying. I'm so disappointed in myself for having done that. How often do we do that? We never do it because we don't set up our transmitters this way. Okay, so let's see. Oh, there's one other squished spot just right there on the edge. Okay, so holding the plane this time. Throttle cuts on. Now it's off. A lot of power. Throttle cuts on and tested. Okay? So now that we know that the throttle is on, we know that the throttle cut works, we can go ahead and back out of that menu. And then we need to go to, ooh, you know what we haven't checked? Let's walk out of the menu. Walk all the way over. Ah, yes, thrust reverse. Now also we have our bind plug in, so we need to be careful. Again, I don't trust this plane, not just because it tried to fly away from me like a little son of a gun, but because I've got the bind plug still in there. So the first thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna unplug power. No sense in leaving it energized while I'm in here digging around. I cannot quite reach that, so I'm gonna have to use a tool. By the way, any regular bind plug will work. It's not like there's something special about that particular bind plug, but my suggestion is forceps would make it a lot easier to put these hooks onto. You might wanna have a pair of forceps if you don't already. Reach in here, grab, pull it out. There it is, okay? So we can lay that in our bag of goodies over here. And then what I want to do is I want to plug this in and I'm going to set up the Smart ESC for thrust reverse because we have channels to do so. Okay, plugged in. Now while this is booting, okay, so throttle cuts on. We're going to verify that we're not getting any throttle. We're not, good. So now we're going to go low throttle, up elevator, left aileron. Now right aileron. Okay, now we're in. Okay, so we'll just go ahead and put this lid back on. I trust this plane at this point now because I have learned my lesson. Okay, so what I like to do is throttle cut is on. Okay, flight mode, fixed wing, brake disabled, normal, proportional, reverse, brake force. They probably want this on something. let's show you what the top is. So they want it on something, so I'll do one. And this is where you can change your setups. Very good, almost there. So channel 7 is currently for thrust reverse. We do not want thrust reverse to be on channel 7 because that's what we've set up for our different modes. So I'm gonna go to like channel 8, we might use for master gain someday. So I'll go to channel 9 and then I'll exit with save. And while it's exiting with save, I'm gonna go ahead and support the plane so it doesn't try to fly away. By the way, in 9 years of doing this, we've never had a plane fly off of this table, but it's bound to happen eventually. I just cannot believe it didn't destroy itself. We had one component break off. Everything is working. That is crazy. That is pretty robust. Okay, so now I'm gonna scroll back over, get back into my normal controls. Now we need to go into system setup, disconnect RF, yes. Channel assign, okay, so channel 9 is gonna be assigned to switch G. That's where I like to set up thrust reverse. And see, this one's inhibited. I'm gonna set it to the right knob, or the rotary knob rather, but it's not gonna do anything yet, okay? So we'll just walk out of there, walk out of there. Should turn back on the radio system, everything comes to life. Throttle cuts on, click. Now I need to set up digital switch setup, but this is where we just work from memory to a certain extent, but I'll tell you how we arrived there because we also have a monitor down here. So if you just feast your eyes on the digital switch setup, why is that one at -8? Oh, that's because we set that up to the rotary knob, okay? And then this one is aux 4 is channel 9. Okay, so I'm just gonna lay this down for a second and just hold the plane. Throttle cuts off. There's some reverse thrust. There's forward thrust, okay? So you guys see what's going on? Look, we can tell by this box. This gray box can tell us what position we're in. There's forward thrust, there's forward thrust. So throttle cuts on, throttle sticks down. So we obviously know we want forward thrust to be the other way around. It's the way we normally set it. So I'm gonna highlight this and I'm gonna go -100 from this position, okay? Now, as you guys know, with this and many other technical areas of expertise, there's lots of different ways to skin a cat. I'm gonna do -100 for that. I'm gonna do +100 for this. I do not want that float in the middle because you're not sure exactly what it's gonna be until you get it. Okay, all right, so now we have forward and reverse thrust. Okay, so it's gonna be forward thrust, reverse thrust, and still reverse thrust. But no pilot fatigue, we don't set that up on these. So I'm gonna walk out of the menu. Now I'm gonna go throttle cuts off, forward thrust, as you can see my shirt. There's reverse thrust, you can hear the difference, and reverse thrust. And it's probably going to freak out that prop because that prop is a pretty decorative prop. So I guess it's probably gonna deflect a little bit. And pretty excited about the way this thing works. I cannot believe after flying across our kitchen like that, that it didn't get damaged more. We got a little ding here and a little ding on the front of the wing, but even still you can barely notice it, which is crazy. So now our next move needs to be to set up. First of all, we're gonna verify everything. So get all my switches back to their normal conventional positions, forward throttle, okay, gear, doesn't matter. Elevator up is up, down is down, yaw left, yaw right, roll left and roll right. So everything's in the right direction. So now I can go into forward programming. So where we would turn on safe if we're gonna do it. Okay, so gyro settings, safe select. Okay, so this was originally set to the gear switch. See how it's changing? Flight mode 1, flight mode 2. So they did have a flight mode, what the heck? I'm gonna set mine to aux 2, okay? So now where do I want safe on? I first of all have to turn the feature on right there, okay? So now I can see it's on aux 2 and it says flight mode 1. Flight mode 2, I want AS3X off. See how it says it won't let you highlight that? So now I have to reverse the direction of my switch D, okay? So we're gonna walk out. We're gonna go up to servo setup, travel, scroll over to reverse, and we'll just reverse, what is that, aux 2 or aux 1? Aux 2, okay? So now I'm gonna walk all the way back into forward programming, gyro settings. Actually, I'm gonna turn on advanced menus. Okay, so gyro settings, AS3X settings, and safe settings, but we'll just go to safe select. So now this is,
Off. Safe mode.
see now it's safe,
Off.
now it's off, and AS3X is off.
AS3X mode.
AS3X is on, safe is off. Pretty cool, huh? So now I can go to AS3X settings and I can see my gains. Okay, so it looks like in this mode it's 42, 52, 56.
Off.
It's off in that setting.
Safe mode.
And then it's whatever the settings are is whatever the settings are.
AS3X
Okay?
mode.
No functional change. No audio callouts because we haven't made any changes to that. Okay? Then you can look at your priorities. Okay. Nothing and nothing. Okay?
AS3.
Then you can go stop lock release rate, 18, 22, 25, nothing and nothing. Go to next, and it doesn't give you any next. Okay, so that's part of the functions of a bind and fly. But just to show you, there is in safe select all the stuff we already did, and then there's other settings. Fail safe, initiate receiver bind mode, frame rate, factory reset, and restore from backup. So you can go to factory reset and reset this thing right to a factory reset AR 631 plus, right? Okay, so what do we have here? We're in AS3X, elevator up, elevator down, roll left, roll right, yaw left, yaw right, off, elevator up, elevator down, roll left, roll right, yaw left, yaw right, safe,
Mode.
trying to level the plane, elevator up, elevator down, roll left, roll right, yaw left, yaw right, and throttle cuts on. So I'm gonna go ahead and flip the plane over on its back. And this is how we test safe, because you wanna see if the ailerons are gonna try to level the plane. So I go to the back, to the middle. I love that. That color difference is awesome.
Really nice.
Okay, so you can see it's really trying to find the quickest route to level. And then you can look at the elevator. It's trying to pull out of a dive. It's trying to pull out of a climb, and it's trying to give you a pretty much level, perfect attitude there. So that's pretty cool. So now obviously, because we've already given throttle, the AS3X should be working, but I'm gonna go to off, nothing. We'll just check the yaw axis first. Now it's working, okay? And it's working, and it's working. I can hear it, but we don't have any gain attached to this knob because it's just not set up on this profile, okay? So throttle cut's still on. Always check that before you grab your plane and get cut by the prop. So in order for me to see this, I'm gonna spin the plane and I'm gonna look at that rudder and I can see it. I'm gonna look at the elevator and I can see it. I'm gonna look at the ailerons and I can see it. It's going the opposite direction that I'm moving the plane in order to correct the environmental impact. If you can't see, put your hand on it and feel it, okay? So I'm gonna give you guys a shot of it from first person perspective. Okay, so as you can see, looking at the rudder, as I rotate the plane, it's trying to resist. It's trying to resist. Now it's trying to resist on the elevator. You might have to take my word for it on that because you can't see it, but I can see it. Now the elevator, same thing, roll up, roll down, roll up, roll down. Check both surfaces, roll up, roll down. Now, we've already checked that the AS3X is working. We've already checked that safe is working. And we've also checked that off works. So all three settings are working. Now, full disclosure, I'm gonna fly in AS3X by default. Sometimes I'll fly with it off if I'm trying to thermal a glider. But I always show that because sometimes when you have somebody that's maybe an old timer flyer and they don't like the feel of AS3X, which I totally do not understand. I understand not liking the feel of safe, but not AS3X. AS3X leaves the feel of the plane, but I don't want to pick on people that have different opinions because the customer is always right in matters of taste, okay? Don't forget that last part. At the end of the day, this plane looks to be fantastic. I can't believe I've already seen it fly, so that's pretty good. Just didn't fly very far. So now we got to check CG. CG, camera crew is going to look in the manual. She's going to help me test this. We do have a battery installed, the battery that we anticipate we're going to use to fly. So we'll just grab some calipers. I don't know for sure if we're gonna mark this one because it's so dang gorgeous.
Yeah. It's 72 plus or minus 5. So we have to do math.
Plus or minus 5? Mm-hmm.
Okay, yes.
Okay. So 77. To turn on our little calipers, we'll go to 77. Man, the batteries are getting low on this.
Must be.
We have to change those like ASAP. All right, so that's our first measurement, and it's from the top of the wing back.
Yep, on the top wing. Correct.
Okay, so 77 takes us back to, man, that's gonna be hard to get a finger in there to test, but it's like right in the center. I am gonna mark the top of this plane. I normally mark the bottom so I can feel it, but it's just so hard with all the strings and everything in there. So I'm just gonna mark 77, right like this. I just make a little point in there. I guess I wouldn't have to like pierce through, but you won't notice it. I never notice them. Okay, then we're gonna go to 68. So here's 68, close enough. And then you'll come up here right from the leading edge and just mark that. And right from the leading edge, and just mark that. Okay, so that's as simple as that. And when you get ready to actually measure this, of course you can't just put your finger on the little bump or the detent and feel how it measures. You have to kind of look from the top or from down the side, have a friend look down the side. But I can tell you this, when you have a battery tray that's this size, there's not usually a whole lot of adjustment. And so my experience has been they just come out of the box pretty much close because they know what you want to fly on and they give you all the parameters. Okay, so just reaching in here, I can tell about where my middle finger sits. And do you think that's pretty close there, camera crew?
Yeah, that looks pretty close.
Okay, and that is a perfect balance.
Yeah.
Okay.
Looks really good.
So at the end of the day, even though I need to put a leash on this thing, I am dying to fly it. It looks absolutely fantastic. I cannot wait to see it in the air. And even after that little crash thing, I can't believe that happened. That was so goofy. But at the same time, there's a reason. It's kind of like gun safety, you know, you have a certain set of rules and you hope that if you don't break more than one or two of the rules at the same time, people don't get hurt. In this case, we had broken a couple of rules. Rule number 1 would be not having the prop on. Rule number 2 is, it's not really a rule, but it's just sort of the way we normally do it. We normally set up the radio setup first before we do a radio installation. But at the same time, the only reason we're in the menu is because we downloaded from the receiver into the transmitter and we wanted to change the way it was set up. We wanted to show you guys how to do it. Now, you may not do it that way, okay? If you want to follow one of our normal plug and fly setups, that's fine too. Or just download it and go with what they set up. That's fine, you can do that if you want. But then all you have to do is go into forward programming, set up your AS3X and safe. But we're gonna also have the added benefit of thrust reverse, which I'm kind of guessing that they're telling you not to set up because by virtue of not having it in the manual, my guess is they're probably assuming you're not gonna wanna set it up. But as with many other things that we've noticed over the course of our many years doing this on YouTube, sometimes the manufacturers think you're not gonna want a feature that you ultimately do want. I remember the first time that we pushed hard for thrust reverse was on the F-16 80mm. And we were told it worked like crap. And I'm telling you, it made the difference for us in our flying environment because we have a short runway, okay? Now, I'm kind of guessing we're not gonna have that problem with this plane. And there are times that we put thrust reverse and we genuinely just don't use it. But I gotta say, I am dying to fly this thing. It looks fantastic. It feels like it's gonna be light on its feet. And obviously you can hand up to the rigors of stoves. What more can you want?
Well, that's why we put the plane facing away from us when we do radio setup.
That was the other rule.
Stand on that side and...
Yeah, and I always talk about it and then I'm always like, okay, move out of the way. When we go to plug in the battery the first time, we have our hands in certain positions. I don't trust the plane until I trust the plane. So it's like I said, you know, things happen. That was dumb. It was avoidable. But at the same time, we all got to learn from my mistake. And that's part of the reason why we do this channel here on Brian Phillips RC, because we all make mistakes and we can all point and laugh, and that's fun. And I'm sure you guys will. But at the same time, if that mistake and sharing it with you helps to bring somebody one step closer to enjoying a super fulfilling, amazing RC experience like I've had, then it is worth looking a fool all day, okay? Because at the end of the day, we really do on Brian Phillips RC, we strive to bring you one step closer from the chair to the air. That's what we do on this channel. And I'm telling you, just because somebody tells you to buy something and look how good I am, it's different than saying, buy something, open it up. This is the exact way you go through step by step by step. As disjointed as it may feel, we are doing the same process that we've done hundreds of times. And we're bringing you along for every step of the way. About the biggest time we leave you out is if we pause to clean up the boxes, or we pause to scroll a bunch, or something like that. Or we pause when we're trying to figure something out and then we show you what we figured out, okay? At the end of the day, we want to give you guys prime opportunity at success. And the difference between what we're showing you and a short form content that you know might bring interest to a product is that we actually help you go from there to here, okay? At the end of the day, we're gonna keep doing that as long as we can. We do make shorts, as you know. The shorts are usually just clips and snippets from our long format content. So if you ever see a short you like, there's a bigger video behind it, okay? If you're trying to find it, all you need to do is go to brianphillipsrc.com, or you can go to bprc.me, and you will be at our domain, our website. And you can find all the planes sorted by type or brand / affiliate, hobby shop, whoever we worked with to provide the plane, where we make affiliate commissions when we sell them, things like that, okay? So if you're wondering about that last part, the way we help fund our channel and all the crazy RC things we do is by bringing these to your attention. And make no mistake, we still point out all the problems we have, because we don't really care if you buy this one, even though that's what they want you to buy, or that F7F made by a competitive brand, or that beautiful Carbon Z T28 that's buried behind about 14 planes. It's one of my favorite planes of all time, and I love it. It's a fantastic offering, okay? We don't care which one you get. We just want you to get the right one for you. And that might be the wrong one for me. And it might be the right one for Johnny. And it might be the right one for Laura. And it's just, we don't know who you are on the other end of the screen, but we know where we came from. And we know the challenges that we faced when we were trying to learn how to do all this stuff. And all the different technology that people spouted off, and I had no clue what they were talking about, for about, let's call it 6 months to a year. And I asked a billion questions and eventually arrived at a place where I was able to teach other people how to do this stuff. So we're gonna help get that all consolidated down and funneled into a process that you guys can follow along for virtually any plane, in this case from E-flite. The SE5a, 900 millimeters, all new from E-flite. I think you're gonna enjoy it. I hope this thing flies half as good as it looks, because if that's true, it's gonna be an amazing plane. That being said, guys, we really appreciate you being here with us. What have we done today? We unboxed it, we built it, we set up the radio, we did all the CG checks, we did the reverse thrust, we set up AS3X and safe. Well, AS3X kind of came out of the box working, but we just went through all sorts of setup. We even showed what not to do by letting it fly off the counter, which ironically, we joke about that all the time, that it could happen. And it's the first time it's happened. I think we had a prop start maybe a total of 4 or 5 times. Yeah, I've been cut once. That was when I had 2 receivers installed on an Aero Commander UMX, which
it's not up here.
It's not up here. Nope. And that was just a real small, like almost like paper cut. I've been pretty lucky, given the fact that we have so much exposure to so many different planes. But at the end of the day, you know, to me, it's worth every risk that we take, because they're very moderate and it's really user dependent. So if you make a mistake, there's a possibility you might have some consequences. In my case, I was lucky. The consequences were virtually nil. All right, any questions, leave them in the comments below. We're gonna be flying this, obviously, if you haven't seen the maiden flights and you're like, good Lord, I just watched this multi-hour video, however long it was, and I didn't even see you fly it once. Well, you did, just not for very long. And if you wanna support us in return, then watch the maiden flights. And the maiden flight should be published right now. So check those out. Leave your comments down below. Let us know if you learned anything in the video. And then obviously give us a big laugh out loud if you enjoyed watching me crash this into the stove just for you on YouTube. If you want to help support us and pay for the polishing job on the stainless steel that's surely scratched, we just haven't noticed yet, all you have to do is look no further than the links in the video description below. This plane will be available, and there'll also be links to the batteries that we used and the transmitters. Things like that are always available. And if you can't find it there and you're just like, hey, I saw this plane you did a while back, like I said, BrianPhillipsRC.com is the best place to navigate to. It'll keep you coming right back to YouTube. But if you prefer, you can search our playlist. That's the best place to search on Brian Phillips if you're here on the YouTube platform, because there's so many videos, it's gonna be harder to find what you want. Even if you search, we have noticed that the search results in YouTube, owned by Google, who is the world's largest and most successful and most prolific search engine in the history of time, their search results suck.
Terribly.
And I'm like, okay, but you can find my video on Google, but you can't on YouTube.
Yeah.
I'm sure YouTube hates that because they hate when we try to send people off platform.
Yeah.
But anyway, if they saw our website, they'd be like, well, they're sending them back to YouTube from like every link, so whatever.
Yeah.
So anyway, guys, if you want to help stick it to them, the big man, Google, then all you have to do is follow the links at BrianPhillipsRC.com, and you can find other videos you want to watch. And right there, we also have the purchase links. Now, if you click on those links, they just take you to the website of the manufacturer partner that we work with, whether it's a distributor, a North American distributor, a Chinese distributor, whatever it is, you'll be able to make decisions. You'll see how much it costs. You'll see the shipping costs if they're involved and all the different things. By the way, don't forget, if you're buying this and you need a little bit of foam to foam, that's another thing you can get while you're ordering. Or if you're just ordering a couple of receivers and you want to get some foam to foam, this stuff is cheap. It works really good. The competitive offerings are in a white tube, and it's China glue. It works really good too. I actually kind of prefer it. It's a little bit more tacky, but the foam to foam lasts a long time. We don't have a lot of problems with it. And ultimately, once it's glued, we never think about it again, okay? That's the type of glue I like, the kind that works and we don't think about it again. Some glues come out and look crappy and they're a lot of work, or you open the tube and they're dry and you can't get them out and you're like, I just bought this thing, what the heck? We've had that with other brands. So we try to tell you about our bad experiences along with our good experiences without being just complete negative Nancy's all the time. And we hope that you guys see that. All right, that should answer all your questions, but if not, there's also Patreon, PayPal, YouTube Super Thanks, and YouTube members, all of which are always appreciated. Thanks for being members if you guys are monthly supporters through Patreon or through YouTube membership. Thanks for being there on a routine basis. It really helps. And by the way, yes, we are working on the damn gift shop. If you guys don't know what the damn gift shop is, going to be a huge building at the end of our dam runway, which is on the dam of the pond that we just built this last year and year prior. It's like over the course of 14 months, so it's technically 2 years. And we are getting ready to make some humongous, gigantic, scary moves that are going to be very costly. And so we are really excited to be sharing that with you as it unfolds before your very eyes. But at the same time, it's probably going to be a 3-year project, and it's going to be the most expensive thing I've ever done in my life. So if you guys are interested in helping us in any way, just keep doing what you're doing, which is watch the videos, like the videos, subscribe, click the bell for notifications. Predominantly, everybody can do that. But then over on the flip side, if you want to help us financially, those support mechanisms are great and we do like them, and that's wonderful. But we would rather perpetuate the cycle of the RC ecosystem. And that includes buying these planes when you like them. If you like them, buy them from the links. You'll support Brian Phillips RC and the things we do, and then everybody wins. And you help in turn to fund giant projects like that. Remember, all the money that's earned on this channel, I have a good day job. I've been doing it for many years. I'm a specialist in my field and I make a good living. I had that job well before YouTube started, and that is what funds our life. What funds my habit, my addiction. I was gonna say my romance.
Thanks. Go for it.
You know, this could publish pretty close to, is this gonna be like a
We'll be right
Valentine's
before
Day
Valentine's
special?
Day.
I was gonna say my infatuation, but then I was like, you know, I didn't want my wife to feel bad because she's filming, so I'll come up with something better.
So it's okay,
My
she
addiction,
knows.
good enough. But yeah, it's very expensive. And if anybody has an expensive hobby or a habit, you're watching this video, so I know you do, then you will understand and appreciate what's going on. So thanks for being here. Thanks for doing the things you do. You guys are keeping us on the air, so to speak, even though we're on the internet. And by the way, NX8 has still not run out of memory. We are way over 250 models. So I don't know if it like clicks over to 250, then it like catches on fire and blows up. When that does happen, we have an NX8 quite literally waiting on the ground to start using. And yeah, that's right. We're going to downgrade from a 10 to an 8. And it's not going to be appreciable difference at all because we still have the same number of channels. We have all the things we use and none of the things we don't, like sliders and Hall effects. I mean, I can't say that they're any better or worse. We used an 8 before we got to the 10 and it was fine, but that was back when you couldn't get the extra channels and we needed 10 to do some of the stuff we do. Like today we used up to the 9th channel, but only because we have pluggable channels that aren't used on this particular model. Which also leads me to another point. If you're looking to squeeze and extract the most out of this technology and you have questions, please leave them in the comments below. We've probably done what you're gonna ask. Or if you're having problems, let us know, but just keep in mind, it might take us a while to get to you. There's other people that might jump in and help. We have a huge community of awesome RC enthusiasts right here on Brian Phillips RC. Some of the most genuine, amazing, kind, helpful, and obviously addicted people that you'll ever meet right here on Brian Phillips RC. And by the way, still hoping, praying that we'll be able to make it to Joe Nall this year. It kind of depends on what happens with the building. But if you guys want to see that happen, let us know in the comments below. Joe Nall 2025 is coming up in the spring. Mother's Day weekend, I think, is the beginning of it, usually.
Yes, begins Mother's Day weekend.
So if you guys have never been to Joe Nall, it's one of the largest RC events in the country and one of the largest in the world, but not necessarily always the largest. It's pretty dang huge though. And it's awesome. 400 acres, aerodrome, full scale strip, 10,000 foot, including the overflows. They've landed big planes there. And they do a lot of full scale planes as well. They have a real like aircraft, what am I trying to say? The tower?
Tower.
They have a real tower. They have like 7 flight lines. It is just incredible. Jets, airplanes that you've never seen before. You're gonna see them flying right there and it is something else. So you definitely wanna check it out. Now, that's not to poo-poo any of the other amazing shows across the worldwide, but I can tell you this, we have met people from the whole world at this very event. So if there's an event you're looking forward to and you can schedule, my suggestion is do at least 2 days. You'll be overwhelmed the first. The second day, you'll start figuring out where the food is. And then the third day, you'll really start to enjoy it. But it's like 10 days. And if you like being immersed in RC 24 hours a day, then you can go to this. And you'll get about 20 to 21 hours of immersion. I'm not exaggerating. You can go in the middle of the night. They'll still be flying. It's awesome. Very cool. All right, by the way, you have to be an AMA member. Sorry. It's the truth hurts. It's the only reason we do it. And that being said, if you guys ever wonder about CBOs, community-based organizations, we're part of the FCTA.
FTCA.
FCTA. I said it right for once. FCTA.
No, FTCA.
FTCA. Dang it. Oh, I knew I was going to mix it up. Flight Test Community Association.
Yeah.
So the Flight Test Community Association is another CBO that you can be involved in. I feel like they represent better what we do than necessarily the AMA. Not to beat up the AMA, they do some things once in a while. But both of them are good choices if you're trying to be compliant, fly within community guidelines. That's one way you can do it. And they have access to tools, tips, and tricks. No, not sponsored, neither one of them. But we did get help from the FTCA that we didn't get from the AMA. Not because we didn't ask, we didn't go to the AMA and ask. We asked Flight Test, so, and they did help us. So thanks again. We're eternally grateful. It was a little scary there when Remote ID was rolling out. Oh, and by the way, if you guys wanna stay compliant because you're not able to fly inside of a FRIA, which basically means you go to like a flying field or whatever, don't fret, it's not that big a deal. If you just absolutely must be compliant, you could put one of these in your plane, really easy. You get some extra telemetry feedback, or you get something that's even cheaper. This is like 30 bucks. Self-contained battery, turn it on, it's on, stick it in the plane. When you load your battery, set it up with the stupid FAA website so they can babysit monitor you. Make sure you're not doing anything crazy. Because you know all the people that are doing stupid things are gonna go out and do that.
Definitely.
But anyway, we're not your mother.
The FAA doesn't have anything else to worry about.
But at the end of the day, all I'm gonna say is this. This plane looks awesome, and I hope it ends up in your hangar. All right, guys, thanks for coming to our hangar for once. We really appreciate you being here. And if you liked what you saw, don't forget to smash the like button on the way out. So much more right around the corner. Thanks for watching.